Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 213. We got to see the insane power of the upcoming Ludacris Model 3 through some leaked documents. And Rivian revealed not just one, but 3 new cars. And BYD Seagull has kind of entered the US. And we have some terrorist attack on the Tesla Berlin factory and the state of Grünheide. And despite the mainstream media wanting to tell you otherwise, Tesla is still growing in China. And we got a lot of great new footage of version 12 of full self-driving this week, and some of the experts are getting really excited. And the Tesla Model Y van is here, but only in France. And BYD seems to struggle a bit to get a foothold in Europe. But Tesla seems to be off to a very nice start in Europe, even beating out the entire Volkswagen Group. All of this and so much more in this news episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
I reported last week on how BYD's little Seagull was getting closer to the US shores by entering Mexico. But it didn't take long for it to come to the US as well. Well, not as a car you can buy, but Autoline Daily Jones McElroy visited a Caresoft that had got the BYD Seagull for them to tear down and try to learn how BYD is able to make an EV for only $11,000 in China. And Terry, the president of Caresoft, and John was very impressed with the little car. For what it is, it didn't feel cheaply built or stripped down EV. This felt like a proper little city car. When it eventually comes to the US and Europe, the Seagull will of course be a bit more expensive, but if this car will cost, let's say, $16,000, it will still be a very good bargain. And the legacy automakers should take notice and probably should be a little afraid of this little car, as this is what the Bolt was supposed to be. But the Bolt cost GM probably something like 5 times more to build. The Bolt was at least 3 times more expensive than this one, but GM has admitted that they will not be able to build a $30,000 to $40,000 EV this decade with a profit. So they have been losing money for sure on selling the Bolt. And BYD can already now build an EV that they can sell for $11,000 in China. The old guys have no chance to compete with something like this. And from what Mary says, it sounds like they will not even be able to compete with something like this for another decade. So even though this is a little tiny city car, I'm not even going to talk about the specs of the car, as this is irrelevant for this little city car, but it's still a car that should make the legacy automakers sweat a bit. As Fully Charged also said in their review 5 months ago, legacy automakers have nothing that can compete with a car like this. At the moment, only the Chinese are able to build an EV this affordable. And it will be shipped to Europe, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, Central and South America. So this will be a little global player that will take on the likes of Toyota's Aygo, the Citroën C1 and other small tiny cars. And with the range of maybe about a maximum of 100 miles EPA, it will be able to do most people's daily commute. So I think this as a second car in the family instead of a little fossil fuel burning one that they have now, or even a hybrid, as it has longer EV range than most hybrids on the market, it could take the world by storm, really taking a big hit at the big boys like Toyota that makes these kind of tiny ice cars. Because if you can get an electric one instead, that is fueled at your home every morning you wake up, and with true cost of ownership will be by far the cheapest to own, why would anyone buy Toyota's ICE offerings instead? So even though this is not an exciting car with a lot of power and acceleration, I think this is a model we need to keep an eye on, as this could change the landscape of tiny cars around the world. And before we continue with more news stories, I just want to make a quick shout out here. They are not sponsoring this video, but I did get them to give me an affiliate link because I wanted to become an ambassador for this product. Because I have just got home from a week of shooting videos up in Finland for my upcoming YouTube channel Best in Tech, and this product has been absolutely awesome. It's called Native. It's a next generation thermal base layer. They are made with this 3D printed applied into the weaving, making it completely seamless and making the fabric consist of millions of small holes that makes it highly ventilated, light and ultra flexible. I have never felt anything like this. It is so light and flexible, you don't really feel like you're wearing anything. There is no resistance. You have 100% freedom of movement even though it fits tight to your body completely. There is just no resistance, and that is what a good base layer are supposed to do, right? Cover your body completely to make the moisture from your skin go to the outside of the fabric and then evaporate. And this fabric does exactly that, but without any compromises on your movement or feeling like you're being choked. The thousands of small holes from the 3D printed mesh of this fabric is made of the best ventilated merino wool and 3% silver I has ever tried before. I used the whole week up in Finland, and the thermal regulation was just beyond anything I have ever tried before, and it never smelled. The engineering that went into this piece of clothes is quite amazing. I was really blown away by this product. It is 100% made in Italy, not made in China like most others. This is made in Italy from recycled materials. I can highly recommend you to try out Native if you, like me, love to get out in nature and know you're wearing something that will make sure you are perfectly thermally regulated. If you want yours, I have a link down below. Go nuts, my friends. And let's get back to the news. The attack on Tesla are getting desperate as a new terrorist attack on the Tesla Berlin factory took place this week. So you have probably heard about the attack that was on the Tesla Berlin factory, where a far-left activist group destroyed the power to the factory, but in doing so also destroyed the power to hospitals and homes for the elderly in Brandenburg. The brain damage of these people is huge. Just as Elon wrote on X, these are either the dumbest eco-terrorists on earth or they are puppets of those who don't have a good environmental goals. Stopping production of electric vehicles rather than fossil fuel vehicles is extreme dumb. Yes, as the group also said, it's target the site because of the amount of resources and labor it uses, so they don't like that Tesla is making thousands of jobs for the local community. Okay, and again, the amount of resources? Are you kidding me? I have already made a lot of videos explaining what transport and environment here in Europe has shown us with the research that during their lifetime an EV, where we recycle the batteries, uses between 300 to 400 times less resources. And the Berlin factory is the most eco-friendly car factory on the planet. Wonder why these guys are not going after the much more polluting car factories of Volkswagen or BMW that is making these Dieselgate vehicles that is using 300 to 400 times more resources during their lifetime. I cannot believe these people are this dumb. They must be puppets, as Elon also said, paid by some of the big oil or big autos behind the scene. No one can be this dumb, right? Or can they? But of course, the mainstream media didn't disappoint by making the headlines negative about Elon instead of the criminals that had just made this terror attack in Grünheide. As they wrote, Musk attacks a dumb eco-terrorist over Tesla fire. Because of this post I just showed you. So firstly, this makes Elon sound like the bad guy and write Tesla fire as this was a fire made by Tesla. What a distasteful headline by the BBC. Shame on you guys. But hey, they are also being disrupted by Elon with X, as I always see the news on X first, and then a day or two later, mainstream media catches up to the so-called news with misleading headlines about Tesla and Elon Musk. But this is unfortunately going to hurt Tesla quite a bit, as they will probably lose a few weeks of production because of this. Tesla said their Berlin factory power outage will continue until at least the 17th of March. So we are talking about a loss for Tesla probably over $1 billion. I hope the German authorities find all the criminals who are involved and prosecute them. But it is the same group that made the fire in the Berlin factory before, so it doesn't seem like the German authorities are able to stop them. And that is a big shame, as they also made a threat to all of us Tesla owners, as they said no Tesla is safe either. So they are actually threatening all of us that owns a Tesla as well. With this Vulcan group, we are, without a doubt, scraping the bottom of the barrel of humanity. And Dean, an employee at Giga Berlin, also shared his thought about it all on X. I have been working at Tesla in Grünheide for a year now. I am incredibly proud to be a part of this Tesla family, advancing our mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Every day, I see that this mission is not just a sleek slogan used for PR purposes. On the contrary, I witness motivating and inspiring employees who thrives daily towards the goal with battery electric vehicles, energy products, service, and many exciting projects. It's sad to see that we as Tesla, as well as the surrounding cities, are affected by such attacks. The attacks directed at us on the power grid affected us as Tesla, but also other people whose damage was knowingly and intentionally accepted. Such attacks harm us all, just as much as they harm German economic location. Together we must stand against such attack, unite in the conviction that such means are never a solution at any time. We are Giga, the future. Amen to that. The more gentle activist in the forest also seems to be a little undereducated on the matter, as they have a big banner in the forest saying, "Water is a human right." Yes, so why are you guys protesting at the Berlin factory? It is the most efficient factory in the world when it comes to water, as Rohan from Tesla wrote on X. Giga's per vehicle production only takes 2.28 cubic meters of water, 33% less than the industry average, and we recycle up to 100% of our industrial water. Why don't you guys go protest at Volkswagen's car plant that are using more water and making polluting ICE cars that uses 300 to 400 times more resources? Either these guys are really dumb or they are paid by some of the big boys. I can't see any other reason for this nonsense. We see some alarming headlines from the mainstream media about Tesla sales numbers in China, but as usual, Tesla is still doing great despite mainstream media trying to tell us otherwise. If you have seen the new headlines from mainstream media about Tesla sales in China falling off a cliff, just like they told us all of last year, because February numbers were small. Well, just remember Lunar New Year is in February this year, and last year it was in January. So it does not make sense to compare February year over year, as we are missing about 33% of the days in February this year. Tesla year to date is still ahead of last year, even though they just reported that Tesla sold 60,365 China-made cars in February, down 15.5% from January and 19% from a year ago. Yes, everyone was down in February in China. BYD was down almost 40% year over year. And for their passenger new energy vehicles, that was BEVs, BYD sold 54,908 units in February. And this is also one thing I have talked about before, but most people seem to forget when BYD overtook Tesla in Q4. Then everyone just assumed that BYD will continue to stay on top, but as I said back then, we can see play out right now because BYD is also heavily reliant on China sales. Tesla will probably take back the crown in Q1 of this year, as China sales are always low in the beginning of the year. And as BYD has close to like 90% of their sales being in China, this will hurt BYD's global sales numbers much more than Tesla, as Tesla is much bigger everywhere else. But we will see how much damage the stop in the Berlin factory will do to Tesla. But Tesla didn't actually fall in sales numbers as much as BYD did. So the race with BEVs in China is very close in February between the two big EV players. But BYD is still the biggest one in China, as in January BYD sold more than 105,000 BEVs and Tesla sold only 39,881 vehicles domestically in China in January. But that was up 49% from a year ago. And Bloomberg was also out with a headline about how bad Tesla is doing in China, as their shipment in February was the lowest it has been in more than a year. But again, this is just Lunar New Year that is making the shortest month of the year about 33% shorter. So of course the shipment will be down year over year and be the lowest in a year, but mainstream media has a nice click-worthy headline to make there. But Tesla is still off to a pretty good start in China, even though we see the Chinese car market make a bigger drop than usual at the start of the year. But Tesla is still ahead of Q1 of last year, so it's still growing in the biggest car market on the planet. Can't complain about that. And we got a lot of great new footage from version 12 this week, and some of the experts are getting really excited. Bradford Ferguson was out testing the version 12 full self-driving this week, and boy did Tesla AI system pull some great moves that sounds like Bradford's mind was pretty blown.
Basically a right and a left and you're done. Stop for the red. It's proceeding. Needs to get all the way over it. Oh my god!
Just with that.
Dude! It just got all the...
That was cool. It went
What?
It went diagonal. That was great.
What? Is this going? Is it recording?
Yeah, you're recording.
I don't think it can go across the street where it thinks it can. Let's see what it does. Oh, it can. We can turn left here if we go all the way over. No way! What?
Another crazy.
Are you kidding me?
V11 would never do that in a million years.
Whoa, that was awesome.
But he also took James DeMau out for a test of the full self-driving version 12 and drove places that James had tried with the version 11, and version 12 was doing a much better job according to James, that is an expert in the field.
This is like qualitatively different than 11 is on this road.
And James actually thinks that Tesla does not need any new architecture to solve full self-driving, only more data, as he wrote on X. This is so good, I wonder if the Autopilot team might not shift the development approach. Up until now, big improvements have required big changes, but the range of behavior that are being actively implemented with E2E path planning and control suggests to me that they can get the rest of the way to better than human solely on top of more and better data and training. As I have been saying about the version 12, I personally think this is it, and James seems to agree. As he also wrote on X, version 12 is going to be over 100x reduction in interventions compared to version 11. This is not an incremental upgrade, it is a leap forward. And Elon also replied to James and wrote, "Thanks, that is an accurate assessment. Training compute is currently our limiting factor, but that issue will be resolved fast. As we know, Tesla is building data compute power as fast as they can, and it sounds like they are making some good progress on this as well. And as we have heard Elon before saying, they will not be compute constrained by the end of this year, so I think it is looking more and more positive for something really special by the end of this year. And that timing couldn't have been much better when it comes to Europe, because on top of that, Florin from Mr. Green EV wrote on X, breaking news, full self-driving Europe is coming to Europe in 2025, and that is beta he's talking about. The new regulation is approved. I will keep you posted when we have more information. So he knows something we don't, but that would be an absolutely awesome, and we do know that they were supposed to discuss this approval for 2025, so hope that is what has happened. And this has been approved for 2025. Can't wait to get mine. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. Apparently, we have got some leaked documents that has revealed the power of the new performance Model 3, Ludacris. It should come with a staggering 617 horsepower combined between the two motors it will be fitted with. A new 406 horsepower in the back and a 211 horsepower in the front. So about 125 horsepower more than the old performance Model 3. I guess we are talking about a sub 3-second 0 to 60 time then. Damn, this will set a whole new benchmark that the old Germans will not be able to compete against, and for a price they cannot do. Boy, this will truly hurt the old European automakers, in my opinion. And in Europe, we do see that Tesla is actually off to a very good start. Tesla is, of course, the best-selling EV brand, no surprise there, and has the best 2 selling EV models, no surprise there either. But for the first time ever, Tesla is beating even the entire Volkswagen Group on EV sales and sits on 18.7% of the entire EV market in Europe. What is a surprise is that we can see BMW and Volvo is actually beating the Volkswagen brand in Europe year to date. So it does look like Volkswagen is struggling a bit. So not a bad start for the year for Tesla in Europe, even though the fires in the Berlin factory and the union strike against them in Sweden. And if you're wondering, Tesla in Sweden was up over 100% in January to February. So the strike is by no means hurting Tesla's sales numbers. The product always wins. And in my country, it is still not just the EV market where Tesla is leading. Tesla still has the best-selling model in my country with the Model Y. Best-selling model in January and the best-selling model by far in February. Nice. But we do see the effect in Germany from their stop of the BEV incentives last year, as BEV sales are down year over year. Even Tesla is down year over year in Germany. However, Tesla is selling every vehicle they produce in Europe. And I have no doubt that the BEV sales will go up again. This is just a temporary slowdown, as we have seen so many other places in Europe when they stopped incentives, also here in Denmark, when we raised the taxes on EVs, but it only took a couple of years and the EV adoption was flying again, because people quickly forget the old prices and everything goes back to normal. And today in Denmark, the best-selling car is an electric one, and BEV market share in January 2024 was over 35%. And in the UK, like most other places in Europe, except Germany, we are seeing the other way around. BEVs are actually growing, and with more than 21% year to date in the UK. And they also stopped all EV incentives, but that was in June 2022, so 1.5 years later, people are now moving on. Germany was just here in December, so we just need to give them a bit more time, but they will also get over that EVs are suddenly more expensive, and EV adoption will continue. But if we look at BYD's numbers in Europe, we can see that they are actually struggling a bit to get a real foothold here in Europe. They are up by a huge margin year over year in both January and February, but compared to the last 6 months of the year, their numbers are still very low, as you can see, not really growing much over the last 6 months. But we will see how this goes over the course of the whole year. But overall, the BEV market in Europe is growing. It is of course happening in waves because of low Q1 in the car market every year, but Tesla is growing in the overall market share as well of the total car market. Tesla's market share has more than tripled in the last 4 years. Not bad. And if we look to the other side of the world, Tesla is finding strong demand for the refreshed Model 3 in Australia, even outpacing the Model Y in February. As per sales data from the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industry, the upgraded Model 3 reached the 3rd place on the country's individual model sales list last month, with 3,593 units sold. In comparison, the Model Y saw a sales of 2,072 units. With these results, Tesla's market share in Australia rose to 5.4%, a notable improvement from the 4% share last year. And that was of course the overall car market, not just BEVs, so Tesla is grabbing more and more market share. And Dodge has revealed their Charger Dayton EV, its first all-electric muscle car. And it really looks like a muscle car, and that's great. I personally think they took it a bit too far though, as they have made fake exhaust sounds that can get up to 126 decibels, same as the Hellcat's exhaust. A feature called Active Vibration Enhancement will make the car feel like it has a vibrating V8 engine. Jesus Christ, this is just dumb, but it just shows you the old boys trying to keep their muscle cars alive, but it will still not beat Tesla's old performance Model 3, the cheapest performance car Tesla has ever made. But let's see what the price will be and how it will sell. And we saw more people abusing their brand new Cybertrucks. This time around, they beat it up with a baseball bat.
Damn, that thing's tough as fuck.
But yeah, that didn't end well. For the bat. Cybertruck didn't care too much, as this truck is actually built tough, not big boy tough like Ford. Try to do this with your F-150 door and the baseball bat will win. But we did see F-150 lose in another game called Tug of War, where a Cybertruck owner did a tug of war with a F-150 pickup truck, as Tesla demonstrated at the reveal. But as in the demonstration, the F-150 doesn't stand a chance. And speaking of the Cybertruck, Sandy Monroe finally got his Cybertruck. The only question I had was, is this for personal use or for tear down? Well, we got the answer to that pretty quickly thereafter.
Hey boys and girls, you're looking at the first Cybertruck delivery here in Michigan. We're going to be tearing it down real soon. I'd like to thank Tesla for letting us be the first one to have one of these things in Michigan. I'd also like to thank the Clarkston crew for getting it all ready for me and giving me a wonderful buying experience. Thank you all. And by the way, just to make everything clear, I did buy these. They aren't a Tesla present, okay? Anyway, stay tuned, boys and girls. It's going to be really a lot of fun. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bit of a shame to use a foundation series, but still going to be very exciting to see all the tech underneath that hard steel skin. And we continue to see videos of the celebrity stages the Cybertruck has, as Gregor Truck leaving from dinner with his wife and people just swamped the Cybertruck. There have never been a better billboard than the Tesla Cybertruck. But it's not only a car for the celebrities in Silicon Valley. Tesla Cybertruck shared this video on X where the Cybertruck climbs one of the toughest hills in the US and even made it look quite easy. And a new report from Talk News says that Tesla is going to do something you will probably never see the old guys do. They are making a voluntary recall of the Cybertruck, not because there's something wrong, but Tesla just want to give for free a hardware upgrade to the Cybertruck owners to make their already industry-leading turning radius even better. Who does that? You will never see GM or Ford sell a car through the dealership and then afterward ask the customers to come in to get an upgrade for free. Only Tesla. And NIO wants to have some of the success of the Tesla Model Y. So what do? Copy it, of course. A spy shot of what is allegedly the first model of the NIO sub-brand. Alps, shared by automotive media outlet in China, but look at the design there. That looks very much as a Model Y in camouflage. Let's see when it comes out if it can compete with the Model Y or if we have another Ford Mark E on our hands. And SpaceX is getting ready for another Starship launch on the 14th of March, so put that one in your calendar because no matter what happens, excitement is guaranteed. And Jaguar announced that they will end production of gas-powered models by June 2024 in the shift to all-electric lineup by 2025. Nice. Hope their next EV will be more successful than their I-Pace or they might be in trouble. And if you haven't seen Marcus Brownley's review of the Fisker, well, it wasn't that good and Fisker is in a complete panic mode, calling the dealers that owned the car Marcus reviewed, telling him that they will send someone to fix some of all the software issues with the Fisker. I guess they are not able to do an over-the-air update. And when Germany started phasing out the nuclear plants, many people thought they would go back to coal, as many thought renewables would never be able to take over. But this nice chart, shared by Alex, tells a different story. And the competition is getting desperate. BMW is now paying customers $10,000 to Tesla, Lucid or Rivian owners to switch to their brand, pretty please, won't you buy our brand instead? Kind of a bad signal to send for your brand. BMW can compete with the 3 others without giving them a $1,000 discount. And legacy automakers continue to do what they say they won't do. Remember this headline from a year ago? Ford shuns as Tesla's EV price cuts in Europe. Ford will not reduce the price of the Ford Mach-E electric crossover in Europe to compete with Tesla. And then we see this week, you can get an insane 11,000 euros discount on a Ford Mach-E in the Netherlands. The discount applies to the old model in the dealer stock, but still this is some pretty big price cuts. But even after this extreme discount, the Mach-E starting price has only come down to Tesla's starting price of the Model Y. No wonder the Mach-E only sold about 400 units in Holland last year, and the Tesla Model Y sold almost 14,000 units last year. But even now, the Mach-E GT version costs 75,000 euros, whereas the Model Y Performance only cost 57,000 euros. Man, no wonder the old guys are struggling to sell their EVs. And Rivian showed off not just one new Rivian, the R2, that was expected, but 3 new Rivians, the R2, the R3 and the R3X. No prices or release date on the R3 and the R3X, but the R2 will have a starting price of only $45,000, so that is nice. If that holds true, there is still a long time until the production that starts in the first half of 2026, if that holds as well. So I hope these vehicles don't make too bad of an Osborne effect, because there's quite a long time till they come to market, as the new vehicles are really looking nice and have some awesome performance and specs and features and a very good price. But there is a long time to 2026 when you are losing $1.5 billion a quarter and only have $9.3 billion left in the bank. It's going to be a really close race against time if their costs don't raise some more money. But I'm crossing my fingers that they will survive to bring these cool EVs to life. But also nice to see all they have learned from Tesla and will try to implement it, like the 4695 battery cells in a structural battery pack and some form of casting as well. And Tesla has launched a 2-seater Model Y for business owners in France, helping them to qualify for a unique tax loophole, as we kind of have in many European countries. So hopefully this modified Model Y comes to other countries in Europe as well, as we will be able to do the same thing here in Denmark. And Frans and Lars had a live stream about the Tesla Model 3. They did not really reveal anything new we haven't already heard, but I will leave a link down below if you want to check it out. And before we end with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest supporters of this channel. My new YouTube members: Jörg Trevino, something like that, Steve Eisenhower, and Evan Griffiths. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. When your pet is starting to sound too much like yourself and won't let you speak when you're trying to scold it when it has done something it's not supposed to do.
Chat? E agora? Como é que carrega celular? Não grita comigo. Não grita comigo. Olha, cara. Ô, Bicudo. Escuta só. Eu não vou falar mais. Cuida. Ele não assume. Ele não assume isso. Foi. Claro que foi.
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. it is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research, charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.